Guess what, guys? I have great news. The Pentagon just found an extra $6.2 billion between the seat cushions in the living room, and that means that we've got $6.2 billion more that we can send over to Ukraine. Isn't that great news? It's so nice that the Pentagon, just has this money laying around that they can stumble upon, and when they stumble upon money that they didn't know they had, their first instinct is just to give it all to Ukraine. Isn't that wonderful? There's never any thought of, saying, hey, maybe we should issue a rebate to taxpayers because we lost $6.2 billion of their money, and, perhaps we shouldn't be trusted if we can't keep track of all this stuff. At least these were the thoughts that were going through my head when I first saw the headline. Because what we're told is that because of an accounting error, the Pentagon has discovered $6.2 billion that have been freed up that it can send to Ukraine. That made me think that they actually found money they didn't know they had. No, it wasn't that at all. It's worse. There is no money. There is no more money. The Pentagon has no more money today than they did yesterday, except for the money that they've taxed away from you. They do take in taxes every day. But no, the Pentagon actually didn't find $6.2 billion in spare change between the seat cushions. They created this money out of thin air through an accounting trick. It's pretty funny because they're saying, oh, well, an accounting error made us think that we were sending more aid to Ukraine than we actually were, and so therefore we have more money now. No, it's the opposite. They just decided to change the accounting on the aid that has been sent to Ukraine, and therefore they redefined all the aid that has been sent and lowered the value of that aid. So now they can say, hey, if we're going to send $100 billion in aid to Ukraine, if we want to send them an extra $30 billion, all we have to do is devalue this $100 billion that we've already sent them by 30%, and then we can say, oh, we actually only sent them $70 billion in aid, so here's an extra $30 billion, Ukraine. So now you got $130 billion total. But on paper, the Pentagon has not spent an extra $30 billion. That is what the Pentagon is doing here with this $6.2 billion. They are citing a bunch of equipment that was sent over to Ukraine. Bombs, rocket launchers, tanks, Bradleys, ammunition, what have you, and they're saying, actually, we shouldn't account for that, for the replacement cost of those weapons. If you send a tank over to Ukraine for free, you shouldn't look at it as, okay, what does it cost us as the taxpayer? What's it going to cost the taxpayer if we take this tank out of our inventory and give it to Ukraine? What does it cost us to replace that tank? No. You should you have to depreciate the value of the tank like it's a friggin' Volkswagen. The Pentagon is being stingy, saying, hey, that tank is a 2015, and you can't pretend that it has the same value as a 2023 tank. Even though we can't exactly go out and buy a used tank, the U.S. is always going to go out and buy a brand new one. Same thing with these F-16s. If the U.S. donated a bunch of F-16s to Ukraine, guess what? They're replacing them with F-35s. They're not replacing them with used F-16s that should cost a lot less. And so, yes, when you look at how much aid we're sending to Ukraine, it should be accounted for based on replacement cost, because that's how much money the taxpayer's actually spending as a result of aiding the Ukrainians. Now, if the U.S. was instead going to actually go out and find used equipment to replace the used equipment that they sent to Ukraine, and they were going to actually spend that much, then maybe it would be appropriate to depreciate the value of this equipment. But if you're not going to be able to replace the equipment at that price, the price is meaningless. It's just made up. All they're doing is artificially deflating the aid that has already been sent so that they can inflate the amount of aid that they send in the future. It's a way of sending more and more weapons to Ukraine without making the number on paper go up. It's a trick. It's a lie. And they're doing it right out in the open. Why? Well, because they think you're stupid. Why do they think you're stupid? Oh, I don't know, because, we pay anywhere from, depending on how low on the rung you are, 0 to 40% of your income in income taxes alone, and then plus you have all the other taxes and fees and everything else associated with the with the land of the free. What with the high cost of living and the legal liability of just existing in the United States. I mean, if you're alive in the United States for long enough, the odds of you getting sued and incurring significant legal bills that could bankrupt you personally, the odds just go up and up and up. I mean, being able to get through your life without being sued in America, that's a pretty tough accomplishment. Not a lot of people can say that. I mean, you'd be up there with the centenarians, in terms of, people congratulating you on a job well done. And all the while, your money is losing a certain percentage of its value every single year. So what money you do manage to hang on to is being eroded away because, well, the cost of living keeps going up and up and up. And your income, if you're like most people, does not follow. And so every year you get poorer and poorer and poorer, and the military-industrial complex extracts more and more and more. And the grift goes on and on and on. That's the way you really make it in America. That's the only way you get ahead, is you have to find your own grift. You gotta find a way to skim a bit off the top. Because getting up in the morning, going to work every day, that's the sucker's life. Those who really make it in this country find a nice fat artery to sink their fangs into, and they just go ahead and they suck and they suck and they suck until their host, just writhes and wriggles and eventually throws them off. And most of the time that won't ever happen. They'll never know you're there. You'll be like a little mosquito on their back. You steal a lot from one person, that gets you noticed. You steal a car from somebody making $35,000 a year, that'll get you attention. That'll make them angry. They'll chase you down the road. They'll shoot out the back window trying to kill you because they can't afford to lose their car. And if they are going to lose their car, they're going to make sure that it costs you dearly and that you regret it. But you steal a little bit from a lot of people. You steal $5 from everybody every couple of days. That adds up to a lot more than that car was worth. And guess what? Nobody gets angry at you for it. In fact, if you're smart enough, you're able to then spin your grift as a boon to society. And you can talk about all the great things you do. And you won't have to ask anybody for a significant amount of money. In fact, you don't ask for anything. You take what you want, but you take so little that nobody notices that it's gone. All they see are the benefits of what you do. And even if it doesn't benefit them, they say, I guess that's nice. Raytheon sending more bombs to Ukraine. But there's a lot more to those bombs than just the people they kill when they hit the ground. There's the people who had to pay for them to be built to begin with. Each one of those bombs, they cost millions of dollars. So anyway, that's what we're seeing here. It's why the Pentagon should be abolished. There is no such thing as a Department of Defense in this country. It's the Department of Grift. If you've never seen, there's it's not that funny, but it is a comedic Hollywood movie called War Dogs. And it makes, at the very least, an attempt to lampoon certain segments of the military-industrial complex. I don't think it does a very good job, but I remember watching it years ago and thinking, hey, at least somebody tried. That's better than 99.99% of people who just don't even think about it. Even if they've heard Eisenhower's speech, everybody knows that line. Everybody's heard the phrase military-industrial complex. But it just doesn't seem to. Then they're still, well, oh my gosh, you got to support the troops. Remember when it was we were told we just had to support, American troops? Now, now you got to support the Ukrainian troops too. The Ukrainian draftees, the poor slave labor over in Ukraine, who's, they've got a gun, they've got somebody standing behind them with a gun to their head, forcing them to point a gun at the Ruskies, and the Ruskies shoot back and kill them. I mean, okay. You know what? I can't get into it. There's too many dimensions to the evil here. There's too much absurdity. I'm just gonna have to cap it at this point. I've made my statement, and I stand by it. So with that said, I will see you folks back here tomorrow.